Beneath the surface of the ocean, there exists many massive ecosystems we have yet to discover. Creatures which we have never seen hide from the sun's light, living and dying without a single moment of human interaction. And indeed, we may never know just how many thousands of species have lived out this cycle without human discovery. As our ocean continues to lose its shark population to excessive hunting, some species remain of the least concern when it comes to survival. Sharks have been on our planet for hundreds of millions of years, surviving more than one mass extinction event. Some of these species are even considered living fossils, including the rarely seen frilled shark. This breed of shark maintains several features that make it appear quite primitive compared to its better-known relatives. The frilled shark only grows to about 7 feet in length. Instead of the usual gray you'll see on other species, the frilled shark looks more like an eel with its dark brown skin. Its dorsal, pelvic, and anal fins, alongside its fringed gill slits, make its appearance seem similar to animals from the age of dinosaurs. As it is not often observed in the wild, it is assumed that it may lunge forward at prey like a snake. It typically dwells between 39 and 5,200 feet below the surface, although it does appear in Japan's Suruga Bay as close as 524 feet below the surface. The frilled shark's teeth look like needles. They are sharp and very capable of snatching up squids and other cephalopods. While they may pose no threat to human beings, they rarely make it into captivity due to their tendency to remain in the depths of the ocean. No matter how big the creatures of the deep get, there's always going to be something small enough to sneak by the bigger predators. The deeper you find life in the crushing depths, the stranger these creatures become. The Fangtooth fish is hideous first and foremost. Its gaping mouth comes equipped with the largest proportioned teeth of any fish. These fish only reach about 6 inches in size at most. Their mouths also feature mucus cavities and serrated edges. Their eyes are almost on top of their heads, and their fins are spineless. They rarely appear close to the surface and are known as one of the deepest living fish in the world, inhabiting the ocean as far down as 6,500 feet. They sometimes rely on dumb luck to bump into their food when they aren't devouring as much zooplankton as they can find. Ugly and low on the food chain, the fangtooth fish can stay right where it belongs, deep within the ocean, away from sight. Aquatic life can be fascinating when it comes to adaptation. Well, beneath the ocean's surface, you'll find the oddest defense mechanisms. You'll even find fish who have developed unique methods of luring their prey. Perhaps the most unique method comes from the anglerfish. A carnivorous fish, the anglerfish dwells about 3,000 feet below the surface. Just like the fangtooth, they bear sharp, vicious-looking fangs that jut at an angle, perfect for snatching their prey by surprise. Their name comes from a glowing, dangling growth on their head that serves to lure smaller fish into their range. Horrific and deadly, the angler can reach up to 100 pounds. You won't likely find this fish on your plate, but if you do, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's been said to taste similar to lobster tail. Ever since Jaws tore up the box office in 1975, sharks have become popular enemies in film. Dozens of shark movies are made every year, sometimes with ridiculous premises like Sharknado. If you think the gimmicks in those movies are unbelievable, there are bizarre versions of sharks you can find if you are 300 feet below the surface. The Goblin Shark is one of the longest-lasting species on the planet, having derived from a lineage of sharks over 125 million years ago. Similar to the frilled shark, it doesn't sport the traditional gray skin of its larger relatives. Its pink skin gives it a strange appearance. The eyes rest almost at the top of its head, giving it an appearance of a low-intelligence creature. This pales in comparison to its very odd-shaped snout, protruding jaws, and teeth shaped like jagged nails. The goblin shark also sports tiny fins and a plump body, suggesting that it is not as quick or speedy as other species of sharks. Its nose allows it to detect electric fields, making prey easier to capture. While it poses no threat to humans, its meat is not desirable. This is one shark that may prowl your nightmares, but it won't be washing ashore on a beach near you anytime soon, as the goblin shark rarely comes up from the depths and is a rare sight to see even for deep-sea divers. Eels aren't exactly the scariest creature to come from the ocean. They may be a bit creepy the way they slither through the water, but there's little to fear. With that said, the deeper you find yourself in the ocean, the freakier nature shapes its monsters. The pelican eel, also known as the gulper eel, is actually a deep-sea fish and not a true eel. It still sports a snake-like body, but a pelican eel's distinguishing feature is its terrifyingly large mouth. The pelican eel's name comes from the fact that its mouth is similar to pelican birds that reside hundreds of feet above these fish on the surface. All it has to do to catch its prey is unhinge its jaw, giving it the appearance of a massive, powerful head. In reality, there's no muscle or power behind the wide-open maw. Pelican eels stick to feasting on small crustaceans that can be snapped apart by its small teeth. These creepy fish can be found as deep as 1,600 to 9,800 feet below the surface, making them one of the deepest residing animals featured on our list. If hell exists, there's no doubt it's full of terrifying creatures. Much of the mythology associated with hell borrows from actual animals found in our planet's ecosystems. The vampire squid is certainly unique when compared to its fellow cephalopods. Despite its name, it was originally believed to be an octopus before being reclassified in a separate order where it was the last of its kind. It's one of the smallest creatures on our list today, only reaching about 6 inches in size. The vampire squid's tentacles are all bound by a webbing that gives the vampire squid the appearance of flying through the water, much like a vampire flies using its cape in some cases. Once their oral cavity is opened, its tentacles are covered in small spines that resemble the teeth of a vampire. It also has the peculiar trait of being able to create flashes of light as long as several minutes, making prey or predator disoriented. The vampire squid resides in some of the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, between 2,000 and 3,000 feet. They are able to survive in very low light and low oxygen environments thanks to their larger gills. You'll likely never encounter one of these vampiric animals, but don't worry, they are no threat to humans and prefer to eat the feces, not blood, of other animals to survive. We've already seen 2 very different but equally freaky breeds of deep-sea sharks. For a group of animals that have survived on this planet for so long, there really never is a source of fascination for them or their variety. This final shark on our list may give you some insight into just how many different species are floating in the ocean, surviving whatever way possible. The Megamouth Shark's name lacks subtlety. It floats through the ocean with its gigantic maw wide open, collecting plankton and jellyfish wherever it can. Its mouth is lined by disturbingly shaped lips that have a rubbery texture. These sharks are so rare that they have only been caught about 60 times according to human records. By day, they swim up to 520 feet below the surface, and at night they are only about 80 feet below the surface. It swims very slowly, making it susceptible to larger, more vicious breeds of shark and other apex predators. The Megamouth is nothing special in terms of unique traits, but it is certainly one of the rarest species in the ocean. It just goes to show that you never know what you'll find the further into the sea you search. Naturally, many of the deep ocean's creatures have no place in other ecosystems. Their bizarre genetic mutations may not even allow them to survive in places with low water pressure. In other cases, their genetics have allowed them to become some of the most beautiful creatures on our planet, and equally as deadly. The blue-ringed octopus derives its name from the many pulsating blue rings that appear on its body. Its yellow skin and brown spots are lined with such a vibrant color that it is truly breathtaking. This alluring creature hides deep in the ocean in crevices while camouflaging themselves as they wait for prey. These stealthy predators consume crabs and shrimp, but their deadliness doesn't just come from their cunning attacks. One blue-ringed octopus has enough venom inside its body to kill almost 30 full-grown human beings within mere minutes. The venom causes nausea, respiratory arrest, and heart failure, along with paralysis. Their primary instinct is to flee from harm, but if they feel backed into a corner, they will attack. This can be apparent by its rings pulsating and brown spots darkening. While they are a deep-sea creature, they will also live in shallow reefs and tide pools, so approach with caution. Messing with one may be the last thing you ever do. Deep-sea giganticism is the tendency of some species deep within the ocean to grow to extraordinary sizes compared to relatives who dwell in the shallower parts of the ocean. There is no absolute answer as to why this happens. It could be because of adaptation to food scarcity, intense deep-sea pressure, or the chilling cold of the ocean depths. Either way, some of the largest, most horrific beasts are floating too deep for us to document. Sometimes they can take on mythological proportions, and occasionally myths become reality. You may have already heard about giant squids from popular culture. Once depicted as the Kraken in fiction, the giant squid has only recently been seen in its natural habitat. In 2004, the Japanese were able to take still images of a living sample. In 2012, another one was filmed off the island known as Chikijima near Tokyo. They normally reside between 900 and 3,000 feet below the surface, far deeper than any other of its species. Their build is very similar to other squids, bearing a mantle, 8 arms, and 2 longer tentacles, all lined with suction cups. They also bear small fins used to navigate as they rhythmically pulse through the deep ocean. It also has the distinction of having the largest eyes of any living creature aside from its equally hideous relative, the colossal squid. Their only known predators are sperm whales and possibly sharks when they are in their infancy. These gigantic creatures could very well give you nightmares, but rest assured, they rarely come up from the deep sea. It's not surprising our freakiest deep-sea creature plays off of one of the most common fears. Spiders and other long-legged critters seem to have a knack for freaking people out. It's no surprise that the ocean is home to long-legged arthropods. Many seafood lovers have probably dined out on crab before, but imagine the terror you would feel if you saw this oversized marine crab coming your way. The Japanese spider crab has an incredible leg span of up to 18 feet, and they can weigh up to 42 pounds. Found mostly off of the southern coast of the Japanese island Honshu, they prefer deep-sea areas between 160 to about 2,000 feet deep. They tolerate water that hovers around 50 degrees Fahrenheit and prey upon both plants and animals. Sometimes a scavenger, they are versatile, horrific creatures known for causing serious injuries with their claws. They are considered a delicacy to some, but outside of Suruga Bay, you won't have to worry about them showing up on your shores or your dinner plate anytime soon. That's all for now. Remember, you may not believe it, but anything is possible in a world so seriously strange. Now be sure to check out another one of my videos, and of course, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel now, because you won't want to miss what's next. And I'll see you next time.